the novel The Lovely Bones, and as I was reading, I noticed that an evident theme of the novel was grief, and that led me to evaluate how each character was dealing with the death of Susie, the protagonist. As you all know, Susie's death was very sudden. She was walking home from school and she decided to take a shortcut through a cornfield. She was lured into an underground fort. She was raped and murdered. As the book evolved, I noticed that each character was responding to the loss differently. For instance, Susie's parents kept on trying to deny the reality of the situation, and they kept on saying that nothing is ever certain. They were really trying to convince themselves that despite all the compelling evidence of Susie's murder, their daughter was not dead. The mother also began trying to forget the loss as a whole, and when she reached a breaking point, she left the family completely. On the other hand, the father was very angry, as evident when he broke his ships that he and Susie had worked on over the years. However, he was adamant on finding his daughter's killer, and it became somewhat of an obsession for him throughout the novel. When I came to notice the differences the characters possessed in response to Susie's untimely death, I began to wonder, how does the death of a person affect family and friends? What emotions are felt? How do people who have lost a loved one cope with their loss? Can a person ever really move on or get back to normal after experiencing a tragic loss? How does a person move on after losing someone? How long does it take? All these questions led me to my main inquiry question. What are the stages of grief that are undergone after the loss of a loved one? This is related to our course theme of conscience and awareness, because in order to be able to carry on with your life after such an immense loss, it's essential that you have self-awareness and work to understand the emotions that you're experiencing, including the driving force behind them. Once you acknowledge that there are feelings that need to be resolved, that's when the healing process really can begin. I really do think that exploring the stages of grief is extremely important, because grief is something that everyone experiences at some point in their life, but it's not really discussed openly very often. There are many theories that have been created to address this topic, a main one proposed by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross in 1969. This is the theory that I will be basing my thesis upon. In her book On Death and Dying, she suggested that there are 5 main stages of grief. Number 1, denial, which is the refusal to accept the reality of the death and trying to find alternate explanations for the absence of a person. Number 2, anger, which occurs as the accumulated pain hits as a result of facing reality. Number 3, bargaining, which means the regret and dwelling on the past. It's basically the if-onlys. Number 4, depression, and that includes the sadness that comes with the loss, as well as the preparation to bid farewell to our loved one. And number 5, acceptance, which is like a period of calm. It's not a period of happiness, but it's making peace with the reality of the situation, which allows someone to start carrying on with their life. At the moment, my thesis is leaning towards being that there are 5 stages of grief that one experiences after the loss of a loved one. They are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. I don't think that everyone mourns in the same way, and they may not follow this exact order. However, this acts as an outline to help people understand their emotions, which is why this topic is very relevant to our course theme. Once we are aware of our emotions, we're able to overcome the grief that is experienced after losing a loved one. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts about this topic. Do you believe that there are stages of grief? And if so, what are they? Thank you so much for your time, and I'm looking forward to hearing your responses.